The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals participating in the show. All persons described or mentioned in the podcast should be considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This podcast contains subject matter such as violence and graphic descriptions along with adult language, which may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
On November 26, 1977, in the United Kingdom, they experienced a broadcast interruption where a distorted voice delivered a 6-minute message claiming to be Vrillon from a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command. To this day, it remains unsolved. Who perpetrated it and why is unknown. You're listening to the Mysterious Brews podcast, and tonight we bring you the Southern Television Broadcast Interruption.
Rhodesian nationalist leader Bishop Abel Muzorewa has accepted Mr. Smith's offer to negotiate an internal settlement based on one man, one vote. But, he says, there are conditions. These include stopping the execution of all captured prisoners of war, allowing Giroux to take on negotiations without being arrested. In Australia, Mr. Kerry Packer's cricketers are still pleading about yesterday's High Court decision, which lifted the ban on them playing Test matches.
This is the voice of Allah, representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command, speaking to you. For many years you have seen us as lights and disturbance. We speak to you now, peace and wisdom, as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this your planet.
Welcome to a deep, dark, dank, moist basement somewhere in the bowels of Georgia. Well, Coachum, testing is upon us, and as I was telling you off air, I'm a whipped tail.
Are you?
Yeah. So, it's hideous, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yep. If you can find excuse in the old excuse manual, I've heard it today about why we didn't bring our Chromebooks, why we can't get little Susie and little Johnny to testing on time.
I hate testing anyway. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I saw a great analogy today, and it said you can equate high-stakes testing in education to big pharma in the everyday life of American and citizens. Because if they did what they claimed to be, they would put themselves out of business.
Right.
So
you're right.
And we have one kid that has worked himself up so bad he had to go to the emergency room last night, and he was diagnosed with high blood pressure, and he's a 5th grader.
Good Lord.
Yeah. There's no sense in it, man. It's one test, one day out of the year.
Well, it's like there's barely any kids that are just there to take the test. There's either kids that don't give a shit or there's kids that care way too much.
Yep.
It's hard. There's not a lot in the middle from my experience. Like, man, there's kids that get so worked up over it, just like your kid.
Yeah,
like,
and I mean,
dude.
At the end of the day, they've lessened the percentage of the final grade to where I've tried to tell them, I was like, look, if you go in there and you crap the bed, it's okay. It's going to be all right.
Dude, when it was all or nothing, that was insane.
Yeah, that way we had kids that would show up year after year after year until they turned 21 to try to pass that high school graduation test. And it wasn't their fault. They just couldn't pass a test.
Right. And when they're like, you either pass this test or you fail the class, was insane. I taught high school social studies one year when it was like that. And man, it was wild. Yeah, but anywho.
It's crazy, man. So This is going to be a shorter episode, so we're going to tag team it. Coach has an update on the old crazy neighbor.
I still would like to have some advice on what to do with this lady, but I'm gonna have to get cameras because this crazy bitch put 6 nails and 2 screws where I park my car. Like, there's no other way that many got there in that manner, if not for her. There's no explanation to the nails and the screws. And they're the nails with the big heads on the end. So if you ran over them, they're just going to pop right up into your tire.
Good Lord.
Luckily,
man.
I didn't run over any of them. But a few weeks ago, I had to replace a tire. I had to get it patched because there was a nail in it. Didn't think nothing of it. But sure enough. And then my truck tore up. So I'm thinking that I'm honestly, I wouldn't put it past her to crawl under my truck and screw with my fluids because I went outside and there's fluid everywhere.
He said everywhere.
Everywhere, whatever it is, because I don't know much about cars, so I don't know what fluid it is. I do know it ain't oil. It's either coolant or radiator fluid. It's not transmission, and it's not oil. Because I Googled. I mean, I could tell if it was oil or not, but I Googled and I've narrowed it down to Freon or radiator. I don't know. But she crazy, man. I'm gonna hurt her if she keeps screwing around, man. It's like, it's so crazy. Like, we haven't spoken to her unless, she's spoken to us, but she's accusing us of harassing her and trying to kill her. Yet she's doing all the harassing. It's a sad situation, man. She needs help, like legit help. But I don't know. Give me some advice, peoples. I'm surprised the group chat didn't.
Well, I wonder. I know. I'm wondering
if
we just need to post the, hey, y'all give us a thing on the whatever.
I don't know. I'm at my wit's end, though. She went a whole week without messing with me. Or as far as I know, I may have been driving over these nails for days. But who knows, man? Who knows?
Well, we have that's the bad thing. I have no advice for you. Like, I don't know, short of you getting like a Ring door camera or putting up like a trail camera right there on your porch, I don't know what you do.
I don't know, man. Like, she's got surveillance cameras up, but the thing is where I have to park, a Ring doorbell wouldn't catch anything.
Yeah. Which that's no bueno there, no bueno. Well, we do have one new patron, and that is Miss Abigail Blom. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the shit show.
That's right. Bring extra toilet paper.
Hold on, I don't know if we have a 5-star review or not. Let me check real quick.
Please hold while we consult the. I watched somehow I found the old Batman, like the 1970s Batman, and he consulted the Bat computer to see if they could figure out where Joker would strike again. So we're consulting the basement computer to see if we have any 5 stars.
Same bat time, same bat channel. I loved that show when it was on Nick at Night.
My wife has never watched it.
We don't have anything.
My wife has never watched the original. I just looked at her like, who are you?
The TV show?
Yeah. Who did I marry?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
How's she never seen it?
I don't know. She's a sleeper agent.
I guess so. I mean,
she also,
I love that show.
And you may not know this, but she's never heard the song, and I forget who sings it, but Knock 3 times on the ceiling. If you want me, knock twice on the pipes. If the answer is no. I can't think of the name of that song. And so I was singing it to her the other day, and she goes, nope, never heard of it. And I was like, good God.
Ain't that Three Dog Night?
I don't think it is Three Dog Night. But anyway, it don't matter. Whoever it is, I'm sure we'll get some great hate mail.
Dawn and Tony.
Well, there you go.
I've never heard of them, but I've heard the song.
Yeah, that was me. I couldn't tell you who sang it, but I could tell you the song. All right, boys and girls.
Dawn
we
and Tony.
kind of touched on one of these mysterious ones early in our career. I'll let Coach look up in the archives what episode that is, but
we did a whole episode on it.
Yeah. We're talking about newscast interruptions, and this one we may have kind of glossed over in that episode that we did early in the career, but we're talking about tonight the Vrillon newscast interruption. And as you could tell from the opening, this happened on a regional TV, like Good Morning America type show, but it was Southern television.
Listen, hold on now. Episode 79, the Max Headroom Incident.
Good Lord. Good Lord, that's 201 episodes ago.
Yeah, it's been a few years since we did that.
Yeah. So it's the day a mysterious message took over British television. So on the evening of November 26, 1977, as viewers across southern Britain settled in for a routine news broadcast, they received instead chilling and otherworldly voices. For 6 minutes, a distorted voice claiming to be Vrillon, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command, hijacked the audio of the evening news program.
I'm not sure where you found your audio at the beginning of this episode, but whatever I listened to on YouTube was much clearer than what you played.
Yeah, mine was pretty crappy. It's the actual newscast, I think, but they couldn't get his voice was kind of not as profound as the other ones I had seen.
But if you look it up, you can find not only the audio but a transcript of what he says.
Yeah,
so you don't have to.
We were publicly shamed for playing all of the Sierra sounds, so we were not going to play 6 minutes.
Well, that 5 minutes of whoop, whoop. Yeah, 5 whole minutes of that doesn't make for good radio.
No, it doesn't. So we're not going to bore you with the 6 minutes of Vrillon, but he, like I said, he was claiming to be a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command. They hijacked the audio, and he delivered a cryptic message urging humanity to pursue peace and spiritual awakening. The event, one of the most bizarre and widely debated broadcast intrusions in history, has remained shrouded in mystery for nearly 5 decades. So at approximately 5:10 p.m. during the evening news on Southern Television, a regional ITV franchise, viewers were watching an update presented by broadcaster Andrew Gardner. Suddenly, the familiar audio was replaced with a deep echoing voice. The video feed continued to show Gardner, but the sound had been overtaken by a message from an entity calling itself Vrillon. "This is the voice of Vrillon, a representative of the Ashtar Galactic Command speaking to you," the voice began. "For many years you have seen us as lights in the sky. We speak to you now in peace and wisdom, as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this, your planet Earth." The message was spoken in a formal, almost biblical English, and it warned humanity to abandon its, quote, weapons of evil and enter the age of Aquarius, end quote. It referenced spiritual evolution, cosmic responsibility, and the dangers of ignoring their message. When the voice finally cut out, the normal broadcast resumed without any official acknowledgement from Southern Television. Now, it was claimed to be a technical breakdown, but it actually occurred during a time when television was still broadcast via analog signals. Southern Television's Hannington transmitter in Hampshire did not have its own audio feed, but instead rebroadcast signals received off-air from the primary ITV transmitter at Rowridge on the Isle of Wight. Investigators later determined that the Hannington transmitter's audio input could have been overwhelmed by a nearby signal of sufficient strength, meaning the hijacker didn't need to breach any studio or internal system, only to broadcast a strong enough VHF signal to the relay station. Despite an investigation by the Independent Broadcasting Authority, the exact source of the interference was never identified. The incident was deemed a hoax, likely carried out by a skilled individual or group with the knowledge of radio technology, but no one has ever claimed responsibility.
I mean, would you claim responsibility?
After this long, if I was still alive, maybe.
Not me.
It'd just be one of those things you just giggle every time someone brings it up.
That's right.
So news of the interruption spread pretty quickly in the days that followed. Some viewers were alarmed, others bemused. Letters poured into Southern Television, ranging from concerned citizens asking if it was real to UFO enthusiasts praising the supposed cosmic outreach. British newspapers such as The Times and The Guardian reported on the story with a mix of intrigue and skepticism. The BBC largely...
why would you be skeptical? It's just an alien overlord contacting them, the UK.
At the evening news.
There's no reason to be skeptical.
So the BBC largely ignored the incident. No follow-up statements were issued by them or the government. And over the years, the incident has gained a cult following, particularly among ufologists and conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, everything's got a cult following.
Well, for some, Vrillon's message was taken as a genuine extraterrestrial attempt to warn us humans. For others, it was merely a clever prank. Good
a plank?
Yeah, it was one of them planks. A clever prank executed with technical precision. I'm about to die.
Get a hold of yourself, man.
Good God Almighty, man, I'm about to die. I may have broken the receiver thing in my mic. That hurt. Oh, dear Lord. All right, so right now is the pinnacle of nature getting and just destroying my sinuses and my eyeballs. It is, if you're in the South, it is prime honeysuckle and privet blooming pollinating season.
The hell's privet?
It's the little hickory bush that you had to go out there and pick your switch from.
Oh, interesting. What are those ones that smell like semen? What are those called? I hate those things.
Actually, now you have to distinguish between your bodily fluids. The one that smells like a truck stop lot lizard is Bartlett pears. The one that smells like what you described are chestnut trees. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're around a bunch of chestnut trees when they bloom, you will gag.
Yeah, they're bad.
They're awful.
Truck stop lot lizard tree, though. That's a good one.
Bartlett pears are the scourge of the South. Everybody thought that they're so cool. They're pear trees, and they don't put pears out, and they just make all this shade. Yeah, my ass. I got 6 of them son of a bitches in my front yard, and every time a storm comes through, I'm like, well, what part of the driveway will be blocked this time? But anyway, join us next week as Horticultural Brews takes off.
When did you become the funny one?
After I'm delirious for having testing all day. You know, when you're sitting there with little snot-nosed third and fifth graders. Woo.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say this. It is so much better now that we are strictly, and this is statewide, probably nationwide, it is 100% online, as in it will read it to them, because back in the day when me and Coach taught together, you had to read everything. I would come home after having to read, and I would just look at my family and be like, I'm not talking. I refuse.
Yeah, that was bad. Back in the day.
So back to the old story. There's people, like I said, that took it as a genuine extraterrestrial attempt to warn humanity. Others claimed humanity. Others claimed it was a prank executed with technical precision. Now, in the pre-internet era, the Vrillon broadcast lived on through word of mouth, tabloid features, and occasional TV documentaries exploring unsolved mysteries. In the
Was this on Unsolved Mysteries?
I don't think it was. I think it was on like Leonard Nimoy's, what was his show?
In Search Of?
In Search Of.
Really?
I think it was. Now, I could be mistaken, and it would be the first time this year.
That was a good show.
Oh, I love that show.
Absolutely. Shut up, dog.
Big old ear flapper. In the 2000s, clips of the broadcast resurfaced online, reigniting public interest and drawing new generations into the lore. Scholars and skeptics alike have analyzed the message's contents, noting its blend of Cold War anxiety, New Age spirituality, and sci-fi language. Now, the Ashtar Galactic Command had already been referenced in fringe UFO literature prior to 1977, suggesting that the prankster, if it was a prank, was likely familiar with the UFO subculture.
Yeah, man, why you gotta say it's a prank? You don't know. Why you act like you know?
I don't know. I hope it's not a prank, to be honest with you.
I mean, yeah.
Meanwhile, believers continue to argue that the broadcast was a legitimate attempt at extraterrestrial communication, citing the clarity of the message, its spiritual tone, and the lack of any confirmed perpetrator. So the incident remains one of the most compelling unsolved cases in broadcast history, and it sits at the intersection of emerging media technology in the 70s, Cold War tensions, and human fascination with life beyond Earth. In an area, boy, I'm just making up words now.
No, area's a word, bro. Like,
well, seriously. I'm just making up words in my notes. Like, there's nowhere in this sentence would area ever find itself. But anyway, let's try this again. In an era when deepfakes and cyber attacks now dominate the conversation around media integrity, the Vrillon broadcast serves as a reminder that media hijacking isn't new and that the line between hoax and revelation can be thin, especially when it comes from the stars. Now, yes, there has been some similar broadcast intrusions, I guess you could say, that have occurred since the Vrillon incident in 1977, though none have matched its eerie extraterrestrial tone. Some of the most notable ones was what we covered in our previous episode, the Max Headroom incident, and we'll give you the little Reader's Digest synopsis.
Like, no, if you look into broadcast interruptions, you'd be so very surprised how many times it's been porn.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of porn. Like, you're talking the Disney Channel, you're talking like newscasts, baseball games, porn. Just interrupt with porn. Why?
Just to say you can, I guess.
I don't know, man. It's weird.
So some 10 years later in 1987 in Chicago, the Max Headroom incident occurred, and it was on November 22nd. 2 Chicago television stations were hijacked by an unknown person wearing a Max Headroom mask. During the first interruption, the pirate briefly appeared during a WGN news segment. Later that night, a longer intrusion occurred during a Doctor Who broadcast on WTTW, featuring bizarre monologues, nonsensical behavior, and references to TV shows and Coca-Cola. Now, despite FBI and FCC investigations, the perpetrators were never caught, and it remains one of the most infamous cases next to the Vrillon incident. The next one was, these are ranked in order of notoriety. The next one on notoriety would be Captain Midnight Hack.
He was caught though. That's a solved one.
Yeah, he
was not happy with HBO.
No, he was pissed that they raised their monthly subscription fee to $12.95 a month. His name was John R. McDougal, an engineer and satellite TV dealer, and he overrode HBO's satellite signal for several minutes with the message, quote, "Good evening, HBO, from Captain Midnight, $12.99 a month, question mark? No way."
That's a good name, though. You got to admit, Captain Midnight is just a fantastic name.
So, like Coach said, he was identified. He was also fined and put on probation. And this was the first major satellite TV signal hack in the United States of America. Next, we have the TV5 Monde cyber attack in 2015 in France. And this was on April the 8th, 2015. French broadcaster TV5 Monde was taken off air for several hours by a cyber attack that also compromised its social media accounts. The attacker, claiming to be part of the, quote, cyber caliphate, end quote, posted pro-ISIS messages and released documents about French military personnel.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Initially blamed...
That sounds a little more serious than Captain Midnight.
Just a tad. Now, initially blamed on Islamist hackers, investigators later linked the attack to a Russian state-sponsored group, APT-28, or better known as Fancy Bear.
No way.
I swear to God.
No way.
No way. You're telling me for...
We don't get hacked by Fancy Bear.
Oh, man. That is hilarious. Okay, so the next one was in 2021, the Adult Swim intrusion. During a late-night Adult Swim airing on Cartoon Network in parts of the U.S., the broadcast was interrupted with a flashing screen and strange text, including the words EBS test and random characters. It was initially mistaken for a hacked emergency alert system message. They think, and they as in the internet peoples think that this was basically a glitch and not a full hijack. But it did trigger a lot of concerns, and there's several conspiracy theories out there about it. Now, there have been, we're going to shift gears a little bit, there have been several emergency alert system hacks from 2013 until present day. One infamous one, and we'll get to it, was the dead are rising from their graves, airing on TV stations in Montana and Michigan. These were traced to weak security protocols in the broadcast system itself, often using default passwords and unpatched software.
Could you imagine that, though? You're just watching TV, and all of a sudden it's like, because I listened to that one a while ago, but I did again when we were researching this case. But it's like, all of a sudden an emergency message comes up and says, "Do not leave your house. The dead have risen from the grave."
Be like, "It's our time to shine, boys. Lock and load."
True. There would be a lot of boys that would be excited.
Yes, it would. Now, many of these incidences were political, prank-based, or digitally driven. The Vrillon interruption stands out, of course, for its spiritual and extraterrestrial tone, combining Cold War fears, sci-fi, and New Age themes. And it remains unique basically because it was 6 minutes long and the technical sophistication that was required to do such for so long in the 70s. Now, there's never been an emergency alert system hack that has perfectly matched the Vrillon interruption. But the one, like I said, was the zombie apocalypse. Viewers of KRTV in Great Falls, Montana. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm about to die. Saw an emergency alert scroll across the screen with a voice warning, quote, "Civil authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living," end quote. As you could imagine, there was a little bit of confusion at first, and later it was confirmed that the dead were not rising from their graves. Like I said, that was blamed on weak password protection. There was also another one. Now, that one was, 2013. There was also another one in 2013 in Michigan and New Mexico, and it was just mere days after the Montana one. Basically, similar text, similar meaning. It appeared on stations in Marquette and Albuquerque. These were believed to be coordinated by the same hacker exploiting the default login credentials in the old EAS system. The next one was also in 2013 in Indiana, the great state of Indiana, where our newest patron's from. WZZY Radio Hijack. Listeners of WZZY FM in Winchester, Indiana, heard a creepy message. Quote, civil authorities have issued a warning for people in Randolph County. Please stand by for further instruction. End quote. It was a voice in a robotic honing tone that aired with EAS warning tones. So I guarantee you people in Randolph are like, waiting. We're waiting. We are waiting. It did cause a little bit of a panic. It was traced to, once again, unauthorized access. And they think that the same people that perpetrated the Montana, the Michigan, and the New Mexico are the ones that did this one. In between 2017 and 2020, ransomware was determined to trigger some false alerts. While not always publicized, several local TV and radio stations in the U.S. have reported ransomware or unauthorized access attempts that temporarily triggered false EAS test messages or displayed confusion on screen alerts. These are less public-facing, but still similar in the intrusion style of the previous 2013 attacks. 2017, there was the California wildfire alert error. Not necessarily a hack, but during some wildfires that season, some TV viewers in Orange County received a message that began with an EAS tone, then segued into an apocalyptic quote from the Bible. The broadcast said, quote, realize this, extremely violent times will come, end quote. Again, causing brief panic, but later determined to be an equipment test error at the local station. Now, there was, and I didn't include it because I just didn't want to jump down that whole rabbit hole, but there was the nuclear EAS error for Hawaii.
Yeah, the one that's like, take cover now, missile inbound. Dude, you won't talk about just freaking out, man.
Could you imagine being a prepper and being like, all right, let's go. And then you start robbing shit and they're all like, my bad. It's just a joke. Yeah.
Are there many preppers in Hawaii? Because it'd be pretty much, if there's going to be a nuclear missile hit America, it's going to be Hawaii.
Well, I would say probably not preppers, but I would say some opportune vandals are there.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're sober enough to realize what's going on at that time, we don't know. So those are the ones that I had. And again, we didn't do a deep dive on this because there's not a whole lot about it. There's a couple of Reddit threads where people postulate what they think.
Well, let's talk about it. We didn't give our opinions. We never said whether or not we believe it was Vrillon.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Back then it would have been harder. It would have been so hard to have a strong, because we kind of covered this in the Max Headroom episode about how hard it was to have such a strong VHF signal to override the signals at the time.
What would be the point? If it wasn't really Vrillon, what's the point?
Well, like they were saying, and I'm not, again, I want this to be true, but that whole age of Aquarius, I think, like triggers some skepticism because there was a lot of that going on in the late 70s. But again, I fall back to, you're talking about a very disgruntled employee or disgruntled employees that would be able to pull off such a strong VHS attack. and that's signal.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't understand why you would do such a thing.
Yeah, there was nothing gained as far as I could see in my research. There was nothing gained when they talked about what happened in the days after. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm still swaying to the side that it was a real interruption. And it's similar, and it's similar to that one, and it's hard because people bury this one. It's a crop circle where someone put out a crop circle message, and then there was a response crop circle message. And I would have to look it up to even be halfway intelligent about describing it. But that one, it was not. So the people that put out the first one, the opening message was a group of scientists and stuff like that. I don't think that same group of scientists are going to.
I know what you're talking about. It wasn't, we didn't put a crop circle message first. We sent out a satellite or something probe that had a description, like a description of us, a description of where we were located.
On the gold record.
On the gold record.
Okay.
And then got a crop circle response.
See, I thought that it was, for some reason, it was a crop circle that they had made, but that makes more sense.
No, yeah, it was a crop circle response.
So, yeah,
and
I mean.
That was kind of strange.
That's weird.
Yes.
Weird.
That's weird.
So, well, here's the thing, and you have to take this with a grain of salt, too, whether or not you believe the current standing of the UAPs and stuff like that. I don't know. Because everybody, you either I take that back. There's people that think that UAP is just a government SOP, and then there's people that think that they are real, but that it is like fallen angels, demon type premonitions. And then you have your ufologists who do believe that we are being visited. I don't know, man. I know you could segue into a whole bunch of different things, but definitely, I would say definitely a head scratcher on both of those, the Vrillon and some of these UAP things.
I think it's real. I think it's a real alien.
Well, and that would be typical of our race. You know, we just brush it off, and they're like, "Yep, keep the windows rolled up when we drive by that blue planet."
Seriously, that'd be the best thing for them. Is just lock your doors, keep going, don't stop on the blue planet.
No, y'all wait. You're gonna have to hold it. We got to get past exit 4 here. So that thing, now, Coach sent me a real story about something. I have not checked the whether or not it's on there or not, but supposedly you can go to Mars, kind of like the Google Earth, but for Mars, and there is a shiny pillar standing out in the middle of the Martian landscape, and not just one, from what I could gather.
Yeah, that was strange. Very strange. I'm going to kill this dog, though.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I love him, but I'm going to kill him.
I say that every day about mine. He's an idiot, but he's a lovable idiot. Well, Coach, you got any recommendations? I had one and I just forgot it. Dang it.
I'm going to recommend a Netflix documentary called The Murder of Air McNair. And it's Steve McNair that played for the Tennessee Titans. And he was murdered. That's what I'm going to recommend. And I'm going to recommend somebody give me some advice about my neighbor. Because I don't want to go to prison, but I might.
It's looking like it.
It's getting to be. It's too much. It's too much.
Hold on. I'm scrolling. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, my word.
Not that one.
You the least prepared son of a gun I've ever met, other than me.
Not that one. Not that one.
You know, you don't even listen.
Oh, I'm listening, ass. Oh, it's the new it's called Gone Girls, the Long Island serial killer. It's a 3-episode not Netflix documentary, and they kind of go over and expose the corruption surrounding that case, some of the earlier theories, and then, of course, the arrest of the perpetrator. It is directed by Liz Gabbis, whoever the hell that is, but that's all I can say about that. That's all I want to say about that.
Good thing you pointed it out if you don't even know who the hell she is.
Well, it was in the article I just referenced, so there you go.
Oh,
kiss my ass. Why don't you just kiss my ass? You gonna shoot somebody's pinky toe off.
Dude, I was about to bring that up. I watched it the other night again. You gonna shoot me in my pinky toe. Go on, quick.
Shoot it. Shoot it quick. Here it is. Here it is. You gonna be the 9-toeing bitch in Harlem?
Yeah, you can be the 9-toeing having this bitch in Harlem. I love that movie. Harlem Nights, if you don't know.
It is one of the
you
greats.
You should know.
One of the greats. All right, boys and girls. Coach, you got...
Written and directed by Eddie Murphy.
One of his better ones, I would say.
I think it's his only one.
He just stopped. He hit that hole in one and was like, I'm done.
He might have done Vampire in Brooklyn. I know he's in Vampire in Brooklyn, which I like that movie too, but a lot of critics didn't.
Well,
so
you got anything else on the movie front? Got anything else on any front? You got any words of wisdom?
No. Why would I have words of wisdom?
Don't eat the rock candy in the urinal.
No, that's a good one. I do recommend not doing that.
Don't buy a Baby Ruth unwrapped in a bathroom.
What the fuck goes on in your mind, dude?
I'm telling you, it's twisted. It's twisted in there. It's twisted in there. All right, boys and girls. Y'all have a good one, and deuces.